Yo, so we are here now. It's about a week and a half after the championships in Felixstowe for the Muscle Mania, where I placed first in the lightweight open men's. Really happy with the achievement. Really happy with all the support I've had from you guys and from family and friends, and everyone who travelled down with me and everyone who's helped get me there. You know, big shout out goes to Nick, my training partner, who's been with me for the last few months. Really helped kick my ass and get me in shape and help make some real improvements this year. Making some good gains, looking forward to next year now. So I thought I'd start off with the first video. There's going to be some more coming up soon, courtesy of the wonderful Jeff videos. You'll have, some of you may have seen some of his things on his YouTube channel. Check it out if you haven't. It's called The Story of Shirtless. There's a couple on there that I've put up on my page before, which if you haven't been on, get on, which is facebook.com/LEX-Aesthetics, and you'll see on there I posted up one that I was involved with Jeff. It's like things like interviews and montages of a lot of the shows, things that have been going on over the UK in the last couple of years. Are well worth a look. So there's a few more videos coming from the day of the show, which I know a lot of you have been asking about, and thankfully Jeff has come through once again very kindly. So keep your eyes out, that'll be up in the next few days. But as is, we're doing the LEX-LOG as promised. A lot of you got your questions posted up on the Facebook page, which I'm going to go through and hopefully get them answered and get you guys set up for the following Christmas period that we've got coming on, where I'm sure we'll all be indulging at the special times of the year. I certainly will be. I'm aiming for 6 Christmas dinners this year. I've been at Christmas countdown for 140 days. I love it. It's a great family time and great time to train as well. Gyms get quieter as the winter months set in. That's when you see the real dedicated guys still sticking around, not just there for the summer show. So here we go. I've got the questions down on this, so we'll crack on with the first one. So the first one is from Harry Thompson, and it was, can undershooting your fat macros really affect your diet? Yes, it can. Fats, although the word fat is taken as being a bad thing, you need fats in your diet. The reason you need the fats in your diet is they are a great hormone stabilizer. You need fats in there to keep your system ticking over like it needs to be. You also need fats in your diet for your body to use so that you don't store fats. If you're providing your body with the correct amount of fats that it requires to function with regard to your lifestyle, body type, training, goals, etc., then if you don't undershoot them and you're providing what it needs, it's not going to have any need to want to store or hold on to excess fat that you've got on your body. So it's going to help you maintain energy levels and strip fats that you don't want. So yes, undershooting them can affect it. Don't worry about a couple of grams here and there. You know, as long as you're within, I always aim to be within 5% when it's not competition macros, and you should be fine with that. You know, just don't be drastically undershooting or overshooting every day, and you'll be fine. So yeah, keep an eye on those macros. I always aim to catch up my fats rather than have to avoid them later on in the day, because avoiding fats makes it pretty hard to eat decent food. You end up being stuck on white fish, which isn't fun at any time of the day really. So always aim to try and get some of your fats in through the early part of the day when your carbs are a little lower, help keep your energy levels up, and then from there, obviously through the big carb meals, try and keep the fats a little bit lower and aim to you know, catch them up through the likes of like nuts and olive oil and things like that later on in the day and post training and whatnot. So that's the fat ones. On to the second question, which was from Daniel Brock. Should you wait for your DOMs to go before training again? Simple thing, no, not really. When you first start training, the DOMs are going to be a lot longer lasting, or when you start something fresh or new to the body, they're going to last a lot longer until it cottons onto what you're doing and then begins to heal a bit quicker as the muscles become more efficient and better at the training style that you've chosen. DOMs, there should be a pain within the muscle that's like a dull ache. It shouldn't be a sharp pain. If you're feeling sharp pains of any kind, that's an injury. So then, yeah, don't train if you're feeling sharp pains. DOMs should simply be a dull ache and a more a deep pain when you stretch the muscle that's being worked. That's how you can tell that it's DOMs and not an injury. Obviously, it shouldn't be a searing pain or a sharp pain of any kind. Genuinely, some people, depending on your preferences, some people like to double up on body parts during the week. Some people, like myself, like to do them once a week. There's a whole fueled argument going on about this, whether it's volume over intensity that's going on. But I mean, I think anything, if you switch it up and about every so often, can help. And as long as you maintain intensity on a consistent level throughout whatever style you choose, I think the gains are there to be had. But as a rule, 72 hours, the muscle should theoretically be ready to go again anyway. So no, don't be putting off workouts because a stabilizing muscle or surrounding muscles may be sore, or legs. I mean, my legs still hurt a week after, when I have to do quads. I mean, if I stretch them deeply before doing quads the next week, they're still hurting. I mean, I still feel the workout pain from the week before. But that's what improvement is. It's pushing your body past its boundaries that it wants to go to force it to improve and to force it to grow. So if sharp pain, searing pain, that's an injury. DOMS, dull ache, yeah, fine. You should be able to train through it. In fact, sometimes you might find that it helps ease things up a little bit. Okay, so next question. It's getting a little bit dark here in the UK. It's already getting nice and wintry, which means rain. Okay, here we go. Next one, which is a little bit in line with the last, is can you overtrain one body part during a session? Right, I know when people start out training, they obviously have an abundance of energy because they've got the enthusiasm and the drive, to want to push through and really get those gains. What you need to understand is overtraining is a term not to be scared of. Overtraining can mean, if you're just concentrating on doing biceps and chest every day in the gym all the time, obviously you're overtraining those body parts because you're never giving them time to heal. But in a sense of overtraining, something like worrying about training something too much on a non-stupid level, like if you're breaking your body down properly and training your different parts during different days, giving at least 3 days rest before doing the body part again, then you don't need to worry about overtraining. What you do need to worry about is staying in the gym for too long. You do not need to be training a single body part, more than 45 minutes. If you are able to go more than 45 minutes on a single body part, your training is not hard enough. You're not focusing the sets well enough, you're not focusing the reps well enough, and maybe you're not picking the right exercises. Those are all things to look at. The aim is to kill that muscle off in the 45 minutes to the point where you think, I'm done. The picking the weight up, you're trying to push out 8s, you're not even hitting 4s. That should all be able to be completed in a 45-minute session for a body part. If you're doing 2 body parts, an hour and a half is way long enough to be doing it. I mean, if I'm on my own and not with a partner, I can kill 2 body parts in an hour and 15 minutes. It's a matter of picking your rest points and making them long enough to recover but short enough to not be wasting time. I mean, I tend to aim for between lighter sets, say 30 seconds. Once the weight's cranked up, give myself maybe a minute between sets. I'm not sat there looking at the clock. I've got a good internal idea of how long a rest point is. And if say somebody comes and starts talking to me in between sets, I'm not rude. I'll engage them for a short time before excusing myself and return to the set. But if I know I've taken longer than I should have, I'll take that rest time out of the next break between sets, so that my overall training rest time remains the same. So you've got to manage your rest times, and you should also be taking into account every week what weights you're doing. You should be knowing what weights you want to go and pick up. You shouldn't need to be needing to write this stuff down and looking at notes and writing notes after your sets. I see guys doing this all the time, sat there with notepads writing things down, yet they can't do a lat pull down properly. What the hell are you making notes on? Because they're going to be irrelevant because you're not even doing the exercise properly. Focus on the basics. Do the exercises strictly, do them well. Don't try and go above a weight that you can lift strictly just because your ego thinks you should. You're going to get no gains from lifting a bigger weight badly. None. I mean, if you forget technique, forget your gains, is a saying I stick by. So focus, keep your rest times in check, and aim to kill off that body part within your 45-minute time frame. If you're taking longer, somewhere along that time frame, you've gone wrong. You've taken too long rest times, your lifts aren't focused enough, maybe your lifts aren't technical enough, or you're picking the wrong exercise, or maybe even, you know, not pushing yourself as hard as you think because you're aiming more towards numbers than what your body can actually do. So don't be setting yourself like, right, I'm going to lift 8, because if you can do 12, you're not going to do them, because by the time you get to 7 and you're saying to yourself, I should be doing 8 on this rep, you're going to mentally make yourself feel tired because you've put that boundary in of 8 reps. So give yourself rep ranges rather than single numbers. Aim to hit at least one number, but aim for a higher one. That also lets you know when you're progressing, because you'll need to change the weights to keep yourself within the range that you're targeting. So that's a good way of gauging that one. So yeah, keep that one in mind, and check all those possible variables that will be causing you to drag your times out. Okay, next one. So for this is this one is from Mr. David Howard. What's up? This guy's been helping me a lot behind the scenes, and he's going to have a big influence on the future things that you're going to see coming up soon. He's been a fantastic help, and I just want to put a heartfelt, very, very big thank you. He's also one of the transformations that you can see on the Facebook page, and you will be able to see on the website as well. He's the guy that goes from around 25% body fat, I think we had him at. He's now at 10%. The guy's done incredibly well. He's followed what I've given him. He's enjoyed the way that we've developed it, and is now aiming to put on some size, because he's put in the graft, he's put in the effort, and he's achieved his results, and you can literally see the smile growing from picture to picture in the transformation. It's fantastic. And so this is David's question, and it was, what is your preferred intra-workout carbohydrate, complex or simple? Mine, I always go simple on these ones. Intra-workout, I want it to be fast acting, I want it to be going straight through into the muscle. I want it simple because I want it to be used then and there. Simple sugars do not take a lot of breakdown, hence them being called simple. So your body has to do less work to utilise them. Outside of your training, you want carbohydrates that are going to take more work to break down, mainly because of the delayed digestion of them, so they're obviously fueling you over time, but also they burn more calories because they're harder to digest. So you can get like what are known as resistance carbohydrates. Things like slightly green bananas are more of a resistance carb. They're harder to break down than a more ripened banana. So they can all help to add just to shave off a few more of those calories when you're in the cuts, and they can also help to stop you shooting overboard when you're on the lean gains. They're always good to keep in, but around your workouts you want to like to put the fun carbohydrates in, because you're active, the blood's flowing, heart rate's up. That's when you want to be able to use your fun, simple carbohydrates that are going to get used. They're not going to get stored, they're not going to get put into the fat cells or anything like that. They're also going to cause an insulin spike, which you want when we're training. We want those insulin spikes because the insulin's a very anabolic hormone, and is very useful. We can obviously curb the crash afterwards by putting in some post-workout simple and complex carbs, which is what I tend to do. So my favourite one for intra-workout is either caramel rice cakes. I don't know what they have in the US, where they have these as Snacker Jacks we've got over here in the UK and Europe. Caramel Snacker Jacks are one of my favourites. Also, and I'm pretty sure they exist all over, is Weight Watchers, or your supermarket, hypermarket, whatever's nearby, own brand, low-fat carrot cake slices or lemon cake slices. They need about 20 grams of carb per slice. When you're in an off-season, these are good because you tend to be able to be allowed between like 60 to 80 grams of carbs during your workouts. Not so great when you're in a cut, because it's a very large carbohydrate intake for a small portion. So when I'm in a cut, I tend to stick to the Snacker Jacks, and when I'm off season, I do the cakes off season. And I also recently found chocolate covered dates, so give those a go, guys, if you have some carbs to spare on the intra workout. Tastes great, really easy to digest, not big portions, and good to get in there. But I do like to eat during my workouts as well, so sometimes I'll mix and match. Sometimes do a bit of large rice cakes with something more fun like the chocolate covered dates. But basically, you know, have fun with it. I mean, I've even eaten popcorn during my session, mainly just to see the look on other people's faces in the gym when I'm doing it. But you know, you can get light popcorn, and that's not bad. The fats, I think it's something like 5 grams of fat per bag, and about 30 grams of carbs, something like that. So they're not horrendous, but fun to be eating popcorn while you're working out. You can always hand it off to your mirrors as well, you know, so they can sit and have a bit of popcorn whilst they're watching you. So yeah, you can also go for, if you're not a big eater during your workouts, there's other things like the maltodextrin or the waxy maize, which are obviously the supplement-based side of things. But I like to stick more to actual durable foods. And what I'll do is I'll eat them in between exercise changeovers, and it's just a mental thing as well. If I know I've eaten something, I've chewed it, I've swallowed it, it's as if it's like a physical energy going into me that I then mentally, you know, channel and blast out the next few sets. It's a completely placebo effect, but you know, whatever works for you. So that's my thing. So there you go, David. I hope that's answered that question. And along the same lines, we also had one from Stephen Hogan saying, what are the best carbohydrates intra and post? Obviously I've just told the intro. Post workout, now what I like to do is I like to mix and match this. I like to get some quick carbohydrates in straight after the workout to help refuel glycogen levels in the liver and get the sugars back into the muscle and just back into your system to stop you crashing when you come out of the workout. And then so I'll pretty much have those either in my protein shake or on the drive home. And then when I land home, I will usually already have my wonderful other half will already be cooking off some kind of potato-based carbohydrate for me, a slow burn, or I mean, if you like it, protein porridge. Get some of that in you afterwards. That's good going. So that's what I like to do is straight after simple carbs, and then level it out with some complex ones going in after that. So I tend to go for post-workout. I tend to go again either Snacker Jacks or maybe an oat-based protein bar, like flapjack style protein bars. I quite often go for, and then when coming home I'll either go for like sweet potato wedges, 5% oven chips is often one, is a good one. There's also a couple of ready to go frozen roast potatoes you can get out there, which are very good, and they're all pretty much a low fat base now. You just got to check the carbs in them. Some of them are a little higher than others, but you can get them as low as 20 grams of carbohydrate per 100, which gives you a really good portion after the gym if you've got like a 60 gram portion. Talking like 300 grams of roast potatoes, which is just epic alongside even the blandest of chicken. It makes the meal good. So those are what I tend to go for. Simple herbs and spices help to keep it all a little bit more fun. Crackback pepper, chili and pepper mixed grinders are great. Rosemary, thyme, paprika on your wedges is good. You know, look into all these things that just to help spice things up and keep mixing your meals to make it a little more entertaining. Especially if somebody else is cooking them for you, then they're more likely to be able to eat these meals alongside you. You know, in a partnership, it's always a great thing if what you eat, your partner will also enjoy, then you can do these things together. And it's rather than you being separated by your sport, it's just another part of your whole family life or partnership that you've got. You know, it's always good to not separate yourself and not be a part of just everyday activities. I mean, this is the whole purpose of why I do things the way I do it, is so that bodybuilding isn't this so selfish, isolated lifestyle. It's one that can be incorporated into everyday occurrences that go on and don't segregate you. And that is a huge thing, I think, that helps people carry on to get those gains and keep them and continue in the sport is when it becomes much more malleable and able to be moulded to a lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, your diet, in my belief, should be moulded to you. You don't mould to your diet, because that's when people can't stick to it, and when it just becomes an inhospitable environment to be in anyway, or for people to be in with you. So those are my choices for the carbohydrates, intra and post. Next up we have Brady Harcom. What is the best cardio for fat stripping? Okay, there's been numerous tests and things on this. It's without a doubt high intensity interval training. It's fun in comparison to the steady state. It's faster and it is more effective. So we're talking about sprints for like 45 seconds with 15 seconds rest. We're talking about back work, hitting, kicking, kneeing, bag for 30 to 45 seconds, and then 30 to 15 seconds rest. Obviously what you're trying to do is increase your active time, decrease your rest times as you progress and become better. And what that enables you to do is keep your rounds the same. So if you're doing 1 minute rounds, you can keep doing, say, 15 to 20 1-minute rounds, but just keep your progression going by reducing the rest times and increasing the activity times, so that your actual cardio overall session time remains the same, even though you can cause a progression to occur and stop you plateauing. The downside of high intensity interval training is it does create DOMs and soreness. So you have to be careful. You don't want to be doing sprints today before you're doing legs, because you're simply going to pre-exhaust the quads or the hamstrings. Not always a bad thing. I mean, sometimes it's a good thing to pre-exhaust and make you push harder, a bit more of a mental challenge. But if you're trying off-season to grow, obviously you want to be able to be trying to load that weight on there with the strict control. And obviously being pre-exhausted and putting more weight on is going to lead more towards you losing technique and losing focus. So it's just something to bear in mind. But that is your way forward, and there's so many variations of doing it. All it is about is elevating the heart rate and training yourself on the timed round. So I mean, effectively it doesn't matter which way you do it whatever you enjoy the most. Sprints, bag work, rowing. Just bear in mind, if you're doing it on like cross trainers and things like that, you're obviously a little bit more supported because of the mechanism and what you're using. If you're on a cross trainer, obviously if you push a cross trainer once on the arm, the thing will cycle twice, so you've got momentum behind you. So you kind of need to get those levels of resistance quite high on the machines to make it worth the while. It's always better to be doing it either on road or treadmills, really. But I've got another question actually that relates to that, and that was from a Mohit Singh. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but I'm sure you know who you are. He saying he has bad knees, so is walking for an hour or so on the treadmill at just below jogging pace as good as going for a run? No, it's not, obviously. Running, you are literally levering your body off the floor, landing back down and carrying on. Walking, you're never leaving the surface, so your body's not being put through the same kind of intensity. Plus, I mean, walking for that long distance over time is probably going to do just as much to your knees as running would do in the short term. So what I would advise instead of that is don't always be thinking that it has to be some kind of walk, run or sprint as a cardio. There are many more options out there, like the bag work, like rowing work, bike work. These are all things that you can utilize. It is simply just about getting the heart rate and intensity levels up to a certain degree and then monitoring those rest times. Steady state can be used and, you know, mixed and matched with the HIIT. It does have its place, it certainly does, and as it is less stress on the body. So when you're coming in towards, say, show times or, you know, levels of high stress and things like that, it is less stress to put on the central nervous system. So if you're feeling a bit more beat down but want to get the cardio in there, it is a good option to choose because it is less stress on the body. But you do have to do longer time periods of double, whereas high intensity training is around about 20 minutes is effective. You're looking at least 45 minutes for your steady state work. And just to also make sure when you are doing the steady state work that your posture and everything's are correct and that you're focusing. It's not as simple as like going for a walk. That's not what it's about. If you're doing power walking as your steady state work, you have to be making sure that you're holding your core tight the entire time, that you're driving through your heels with every step. I mean, there's a lot more going on there than meets the eye, really. So make sure that you've got all that in check and that you really are putting your body still through a workout. Even after steady state, you should be sweating and you should be out of breath and it should be not painful, but I mean, you should feel soreness from it. So that's those two answered. Okay, just at the gym car park now, so we'll finish these off. See if we can get some more focus on there, see how dark we are in Britain already. Okay, let's have a look. We've got Jordan McCann saying, when I dieted for the show, I said I wasn't doing cardio. How much did I decrease my calories by? It probably went around about 20%, and it wasn't calories I decreased, it was carbs. The fats and that, relatively when you're dieting down, don't want destabilizing too much from what they're worked out to be needed, obviously, like I said, for that kind of hormone balance and support and energy levels as well. So it's the carbohydrates which were manipulated with the protein. Again, it's specific to the person, and but obviously you work out what you will be burning calorie wise from the cardio. That's taken into account for a 7-day cycle, calories for that, and then that was obviously then put into what cardio was being done in terms of, was I going out and doing things recreationally like cycling? Yes, I was, and then the reduction in carbs was worked out from then on, and it was probably came in around about 20%. His other question was, did I decrease calories coming closer to the show? No, calories, well yes, calories came down, but not in a sense of overalls. If anything, protein went up, but carbs came down, and that's just manipulation and knowing your body. And I've still got things to learn about that and how my body reacts to the carbs closer to the show. And so I'll be playing with that again next year, again in a different way. We were front loaded this year, but talking to my partner who came down with me and trained with them and did it with me, we're thinking about doing the load a day later, just because of the way we responded. We thought we looked a little drier and better the day before, because due to not being able to gauge the timings of when you're going to be on stage, we wanted to be able to have a little bit more play with carbs on the day of the show, whereas this time, because we think we peaked properly as if we were going to go on timed, when we were delayed to going on the stage, it affected us because we'd already loaded the carbs, and then we're trying to re-peak all the time, which isn't obviously the optimal way of doing things. So yes, you do decrease coming to the show very slightly, but it's pretty much only maybe a week out from your peak week that you do that, and it's simply a dip to be able to just benefit the load the week after, just to help your body uptake. It's nothing major. So in that sense, pretty much for most of the diet, it stays pretty much the same, as long as the scales and the skin fold measurements all go in the right directions. Things don't change. I mean, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Is a simple thing with that. Okay, finally, Chris Roy. Why aren't calories higher on workout days than on rest days with the plans? Right, the reason being, the way I do it is I work out 5 days a week. Some people work out 4 days a week. When you're not working out, your body's healing. So it still needs those calories, it still needs that breakdown to heal, and you still need the carbohydrates and stuff to refuel. So if you're dropping your calories on your rest days, you're reducing the ability of your body to heal and regenerate for the next day, which is not what you want. The whole purpose of whenever you're dieting or gaining is to constantly support your body and constantly keep it in a certain level, not let it dip and peak, because that's what causes inconsistencies and what causes lethargy and sleep disruption, yada yada. So the more consistent you can be with your body, the more responsive it will become. That's my belief anyway, and what I've seen work for myself and my clients. So that is a simple reason as to why. I mean, certain days, every day is slightly different in your working day, in just life things come up that you're not expecting, and to calculate for every single day individually it's a near impossibility. It's just not user friendly. So in the absence of you having 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to be able to monitor your exact calorie needs per day by walking around with a calorie counter on you and monitoring your days exactly, it's just not worth your time. But you're talking about very, very, very minor changes that would need to be made anyway. So don't worry about things like that. Don't worry about it too much. If the scales are going in the right direction, your body fat's going in the right direction, and your training is consistent, and your food is correct, it will work. Guaranteed. So that is everybody there that wrote in from the last LEX-LOG. There'll be another thread going up. There'll be more videos coming on, and there's going to be a few more fun ventures coming very soon. So stay tuned, stay in touch on the Facebook, www.facebook.com/LEX-Aesthetics. Take a look as well, guys, and well, girls especially. I mean, I know I might be fun to look at, but obviously I'm more in tune with the guys for the training side of things, for what I put out there. For the women, check out Lisette Howard, www.LISETTEHOWARD.com, lissettehoward.com. She's in the links below the video. Check her out. She posts up workout videos and training videos, and she is going for stage show. The woman's done brilliantly. She is David Howard, the guy I mentioned earlier, his wife. It's just phenomenal. It's brilliant to see a partnership working like that. She puts up some great information up there. So girls, check her out. She might give you some inspiration to, you know, push you through those plateaus. And guys, she ain't bad to look at. So get your girlfriends onto it. Till next time, train hard, aim high. Boom, baby!